7,000 or so prints later. I bought this printer from lasertransfersupplies.com about 2 years ago. What do you think about it now, Rich? Let's give a quick 2-year in review. Well, more so like one, because I didn't really use it that much this year. Anyways, let's get to it. What is up? My name is Rich. Welcome to another video on the white toner printer. It's been a while. This is gonna be a 2-year update. It's been a while since I turned this thing on too, so I think we went like full print on demand earlier this year. I wanna say the last time I turned it on was probably Christmas or so. All right, here we go. We're gonna turn on the power button. It's been a while. Let's see how it just boots right up. Hopefully we still have some ink for this video. Maybe I should have booted up first to check. All right, looks like we're good to go. Oh, we do have some ink. All right, so I'm gonna load up a print. Let's see how well it prints. All right, just hit print. It's coming through. Let's see it. No problem, looks good. I'm actually quite impressed. All right, so hopefully I remember how to do the A to B process. Let's go to the heat press. Before we go to the heat press, I wanna see how many prints we've done on this thing. It's been a while. I'll counter. It shouldn't be as much from the last time I showed you guys. Oh, 7,262 prints out of this thing, and usually this prints out the jumbo size, which is 12.5 by 19, and I'm usually able to get 2 shirts out of this thing. So we printed maybe about 14,000 worth of t-shirts within about a year and a half, because we didn't use it too much last year and we didn't use it at all this year. So actually 1 year? I don't know, I can't do math, y'all. All right, y'all, so I had to watch my own video to remember the times on how to press this. Make sure y'all watch this video too. And like I said, I don't know if it's in this video, but I bought this printer with my own money. Was not given this printer. So make sure you watch this video. It has a lot of more valuable information on the white toner printer as well. But this is more of a 2-year review. Let's go. All right, so I haven't done this in a while. Let's make sure it's at 350. All right, so 120 seconds. I got my B sheet on here. This is the adhesive that goes to the back. I'm gonna fold this little corner right here. Craft paper. Here we go. And as mentioned before, y'all, whenever y'all do the A to B process, hopefully I do it right on the first try. It's been a while, but you want a nice heat press. I think you can possibly get away with like the cheaper ones, but I think it won't be as consistent. You want to make sure you have some type of nice heat press to be able to do this. Hopefully I'll be able to do this on the first peel. All right, here we go. So as soon as this pops up, I like to give it a nice little wipe, cool it down slightly, and then I go for the peel. Well, we gotta take this off first. All right, so I like to do this, make sure it's on the design. And then what I like to do is peel this little corner, and you wanna make sure it's nice and tight. And it's actually doing pretty good. We do want to peel this while it's still warm. We don't want to let it cool down too much. Holy cow. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I thought I was gonna mess up. So usually if you mess up, there's still parts of the adhesive on here. I don't know if y'all can see though. We got all of it onto the actual design. We're missing one little spot right here by the letter D. Can y'all see that? I honestly did not think we were gonna get that down. All right, so what we wanna do is cut off all the edges, because as you can see, like where I fold down the corner, that right here, if we don't cut that off, it's going to get onto the actual t-shirt itself. So I'm gonna cut off the edges. Gildan G500 black. Now we wanna do 330 for 30 seconds. Also, you guys, this is a jumbo size print. I usually don't do prints this large. It's a 12.5 by 19. I mean, for a clothing brand, I'll do photos this large, but for like generic storefronts, like the business model that I have for Etsy, I do the smaller sizes all day long. All right, so after we press this for 30 seconds, notice I didn't use a cover sheet. We're going to want to use that on the post press. But after we do this press, we want it to cool down a little bit. All right, so 330 for 30 seconds. And we want this to cool down. I moved the camera, but it's only been like 2 seconds since I took it off the press. Let's see how long it takes to cool down. What I typically like to do still, take the t-shirt still. You can cool it down just like that. Hopefully that'll be enough. If it doesn't cool down enough, sometimes the design will pull off with the transfer. So we want to make sure it's fairly cool. It's pretty cool to the touch. Still has a little bit of warmth to it. And right here, you want to be really, really tight. Check this out. So you don't want to just snatch it off. You want to get down here and get nice and tight with it. Check that out. Haven't done this in a while. All right, so I'm gonna mess up a portion of a t-shirt on purpose because the way I'm usually able to define if it's working well, see if I'm way low, you don't hear too much sound. But if you up a little high, it doesn't sound as good. So this portion of the shirt might not look as good because you can hear how loud it is compared to this. Huge difference. All right, so we're back at the heat press. Now we want to do 320 for the post press, 320 for 20 seconds. All right, so there's one or two things we can do. We can put our craft paper back on, or there's this thing called a T-seal. Looks like a plain sheet of paper, and it costs like 40 bucks, I know, but look, it makes a little bit of a difference. So this side right here has like this little soft, I don't know what you want to call it. I honestly don't understand the technology behind it, but it helps put the ink into, I've never done a print this big though, that's the problem. It helps put the not necessarily the ink, but the image into, it engraves into the fabric a little bit more. So, okay, might be a situation though. Guess it barely works for a 12.5 by 19. We have a little bit hanging off right here. Not sure what's gonna happen, but I would like to show you guys the T-seal. So we're just gonna press it anyways and pray for the best. All right, so that's with the T-seal. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but you see where the letter Y is. It's a little bit more engraved to the actual texture of the t-shirt with the T-seal. Works a little bit better than the craft paper. I think it's worth it. All right, so let's go talk about this. All right, so there goes your t-shirt. You can see it a little bit more in this light. You see the white area where it's a little bit more ingrained into the t-shirt. That's because of the T-seal. If you want to learn more about cost per print, washability and stuff, I'll post a link down below to my original video. I went a lot more in depth in that video. This video right here, I'm pretty much just going to be talking about the 2-year in review and why I used it and how it's actually worked for me. So business model wise, I've already had a direct-to-garment printer before, which I also pay for with my own money. I just want to say that every single time because I don't know why people just think I'm gifted things. When I have an actual business model, the problem is selling on Etsy, And the way you make a majority of your sales is by listing a lot of different designs. And most of the time, you'll be printing a lot of one-offs. So there's always a whole bunch of different designs going in and out. And it's usually only one particular item of a particular size. And that's why this has worked for me. And it's a lot faster than a direct-to-garment printer. And in order for you to increase production, all you need is additional heat presses, not additional direct-to-garment printers. Now, quality-wise, it's not as nice as a direct-to-garment printer, of course, because a direct-to-garment printer is printing ink directly onto a t-shirt. So this is still good enough for me. It's worked for Etsy orders because most of the designs aren't necessarily something for a clothing brand. However, you can see right here, it still looks pretty good. But in this fashion right here with the white toner printer, the design is printed onto a sheet of paper, then we put the adhesive behind it, then we lay it onto the actual t-shirt. So it's not necessarily ink like a direct-to-garment printer, but it worked out for me. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of like the way it feels and whatnot, but when it comes to selling on Etsy, I've only had one, and we've seen how many t-shirts we printed with this actual printer right here. Over 14,000 t-shirts, right? And I've only had a bad review, probably 1 out of every 500 of those actual prints. So it's worked out. And anytime I had something that I needed to print out en masse, then I'd either get it in screen printed transfers, or I would go to an actual screen printer. So this isn't an ideal solution when it comes to printing something en masse, right? Especially the same design over and over, but it is pretty ideal to print something out en masse when it comes to a whole bunch of different designs and you don't want to deal with maintenance. When I had a direct-to-garment printer, anytime I left it sitting, I know there's quote unquote like white cap systems, and it's not how it was when I first purchased mine. I think I bought my direct-to-garment printer in 2016. But I used to waste a lot of white ink, and it was frustrating to get it back up and running whenever it's been sitting for a while. Well, I haven't turned this thing on since Christmas. From here, this is September, end of September, so about 10 months or so. Because this year we switched to print on demand, which we make less profit, but now we have more time to do other things. With that being said, if this business model fits you, then the white toner printer is an absolute win. As you've seen, I've literally made my money back, I don't know how many times over. We'll do a quick math demonstration with that. But I've made my money plenty of times over to be able to get this printer. I've actually when I bought the printer, I had $50,000 in sales that month, and it was during COVID, and print on demand companies were, they were overloaded and it was hard to get t-shirts out. And then I purchased this printer with 10 grand of that, and the printer came to me fairly quickly, I remember. And it worked out. I was able to fulfill all those orders with just this alone. So let's do some quick math. Let's do 14,000 t-shirts times, we'll do on average like 15 bucks or something. So 200 grand is what I've made off of this printer alone, and this printer was 10 grand. All right, so what is that? 20 times over, if I'm doing the math right? So roughly, all right, let's do this actually. So let's say it was $5 profit each, right? Because we got the cost per t-shirt, cost per ink. It's actually a little more than that in profit, but let's just do $5 anyway. So 5 times 14,000. We made roughly $70,000 in profit from this printer alone. So we made our money back 7 times over within less than 2 years. Well, I didn't use it this year, so a year or so. With that being said, the printer that I have is a little bit more expensive, but if you check out some of the other printers on the website, there are financing options available. So on the safe side, let's say if you purchase a printer and a heat press and you're able to finance it, if you're selling at least 20 to 30 shirts per month at retail price of 20 bucks, you'll at the very least make your minimum payment. So 20 to 30 shirts per month is very feasible. So make sure you do check out the other printer options that they do have available. And of course they do have financing. At the end of the day, every piece of printing equipment has its own business model that it can fit. And this is one of the ones that has fit for me all of this time. There's just always different options that you can use for your own business model. It's just how you see it fit and how you can make it work for you. And this is something that worked for me. So it's important for me to give you guys this 2-year in review, and I hope this helped you guys out. So I'll see you guys next time. Just a heads up, I bought this from lasertransfersupplies.com, so make sure you check that out. The printer from there if you want to purchase it, because that's where I got it from. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm gonna see you next time.